Ooh, you're a holiday.
Hi, we're the Bee Gees. Make it a holiday to remember this year. Don't drink and drive.
Wonder Woman, starring Linda Carter, and Incredible Hulk, starring Bill Bixby, will return at their regular times next Friday evening on most of these stations.
What the hell are you doing? Jewish people can't eat Christmas snow. We can too. No, I think it's against the law, dude. Officer Barbrady!
What?
Is it illegal for Jews to eat Christmas snow?
Yes?
Damn it! Hey, come on, guys. We have to go to the mall and tell Santa Claus what we want for Christmas. Yeah, we'll see you later, Kyle. Guess there's no reason for you to come since you don't get Christmas presents. No, but I get Hanukkah presents for 8 days. Too bad it's usually a dreidel or something lame like that. We'll catch up with you later, Kyle. Wait, I may not have Santa, but I do have Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo.
What are these?
Those are your new shoes, Dawn.
Those aren't the right kind. I told you cha-cha heel black ones.
Nice girls don't wear cha-cha heels.
Give me those presents. I'll neither wear those ugly shoes. I told you the kind I wanted. You ruined my Christmas.
Please, Dawn, not on Christmas!
Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year, and he won't be round to spread his Christmas cheer. The reindeer all look blue. They know what he's going through. Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year.
Make my wish come true for Christmas.
This is Smokey Robinson. I know you didn't expect to hear from me, but I was contacted by your sons, Jeff and Jared, and they wanted me to wish you Happy Chanukah. I have no idea what Chanukah is, but Happy Chanukah because they said so. Anyway, God bless you, babe, and enjoy Chanukah. Have a wonderful time.
Hi, this is Lenny Kravitz. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Hi, this is Bill Cosby.
Hello, this is Arnold Schwarzenegger. Season greetings and best wishes for a joyous holiday.
They've seized a building and taken hostages. One man has managed to escape and is trapped inside.
I'm starting to get a bad feeling up there.
John McClane didn't want to be a hero.
Send the police now!
But he's the only chance they've got. Bruce Willis in Die Hard. 40 stories of sheer adventure. Rated R. Now playing in selected cities. Starts Wednesday, July 20th at theaters everywhere.
It's the little things, you know?
Yeah.
So do you know why I like Christmas the best out of all the holidays? Out of the millions of holidays?
I have absolutely not. Better than Nacho Day?
Better than what?
Nacho Day.
Oh, is that Taco Tuesday? Or is that a different thing?
Everything has a national day. I don't know when it is, but I'm going to imagine that nachos do.
Well, Nacho Day is probably up on the list, you know, but the reason I like Christmas best is because it's the only holiday that has zero stress attached to it. Okay? Right?
You've never been the cook.
You don't have to worry about
have you?
Who's getting what.
You've never been the cook, have you?
I have, actually. You don't agree with me?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's lovely. It really is, and I enjoy the heck out of it. But there's always some stress.
Let's take a trip back in down memory lane. Let's go back to a place where we were kids and we had absolutely no stress. It was all about the presents, right? Remember that time? Do you remember a day like that?
I do remember one year when I finally got my ironing board. I'd wanted an ironing board forever and ever.
Okay.
So right there at the Christmas tree, popped off my fancy little Christmas dress and start ironing.
Nice. Now, did you notice because of the shape of the packaging that you're like, oh, I got my...
No, I don't remember that.
No. Well, it's kind of hard to conceal the shape of an ironing board, isn't it?
They're not full size. It was a smaller children's one. And I'm sure it just came in a long rectangular box. They're not set up. Have you ever used an ironing board? You do know they collapse, right?
Oh, my Lord, you are... Could you be more condescending? Could you be a little more condescending? I've ironed.
I can try.
I've ironed. Just because, at a certain point in my life, I made the pivot to 100% cotton to prevent ironing doesn't mean that I haven't ironed, okay? I've been there.
Oh, you still have to press cotton?
Do you?
Get it just so. Oh, yes.
Not what I wear. What I wear, just sort of, the wrinkles just come out magically, I guess.
Of your dress shirts, though?
What's a dress shirt again?
Okay.
Is that the one that has the V-neck?
No.
Okay.
Collar, buttons?
Oh, yeah, no. Not for me.
Okay.
Under duress, I will wear those, but no, not right now. But you know what people really want to know? The first thing before we go any further with this, we have to get one thing straight because there seems to be a bit of controversy over this, and there has been for some time. Okay, we're here to set the record straight once and for all.
Die Hard is or is not a Christmas movie?
That's the
Die
question.
Hard 3.
You go first.
They're at a Christmas party.
Not only that, because okay, do I need to break this down? Because the way I look at it, break it down. The way I look at it is, it isn't about just taking place at Christmas. Because if we allowed any movie that has a Christmas scene in it,
We're really going to analyze this movie.
Oh hell yeah, we got nothing but time. We got nothing but time. So here's what I'm saying: if The Holiday is important to the plot, it becomes a Christmas movie. Now, Die Hard. Everybody knows what the movie's about. Now, Hans Gruber and his guys purposely chose Christmas Eve because they knew there would be a holiday party. They knew that they would have plenty of cover. So that makes it a holiday movie. That makes it a Christmas movie specifically. You with me so far?
Well, I don't think anyone should be working on Christmas Eve, nor should there be a holiday party or Christmas party on Christmas Eve. Everybody should be home because that is traditionally when we celebrate. So, to me, it's all wrong.
That is true. Well, my family celebrated Christmas Eve and not Christmas Day. Christmas Day was the day of... We opened all of our presents on Christmas Eve, all the presents. And then Christmas Day was just like the day off to play with your stuff.
And eat leftovers. Yeah.
I don't know if that was because of my father. My father was just a pushover, and he just couldn't wait the extra day. Because I was kind of like that. I just really, really wanted my kids to see what I got them. So.
I think it's kind of more controllable, honestly. If you do it at night on Christmas Eve, you have Christmas dinner, you eat a dinner, clean up, and then go out to gifts. Christmas morning, people wake up at different times, and you don't get to share the experience with each other. Or could you imagine being up at 6 o'clock? I'm ready, and your siblings don't get up until 8 and 9? That's bad anticipation.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe it was more practical than anything. But I liked it. I was really confused when I learned that other families didn't do that. But I suppose there's more than one thing that I was more than confused when I learned that other families didn't do.
Well, we would have dinner, clean up, go open gifts, and then hang out and play with gifts. And as we got older, we would play 10-point pitch until midnight mass. And then we would go to church and then come home and go to bed.
And start all over. And then what about the next day? That was Christmas Day. No, that's Christmas Eve. So Christmas Day would be what? Football, food and football.
Lots of football and hanging out.
I'm trying to remember. I'm not the football fan that I used to be, but Christmas Day was traditionally like a bowl games day, right? Wasn't it?
Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl. Okay.
National Championship.
Got it.
Was one, yeah.
But it also seemed like New Year's Day was the big game, wasn't it? Wasn't it the Orange Bowl?
Yeah.
Maybe? Which is where
maybe New Year's Day is the Rose Bowl. I have to think.
Our home state team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, would generally play in the Orange Bowl, and
More
it seems
often.
like that was always on New Year's Day.
They went down to the Rose Bowl one time, and they were there for 12 days. And of course, the per diem, which would be workable in other places, just simply was not enough to feed those great big kids.
Why were they there for 12 days?
I don't know, but they were. That was a mighty long time. And it's not like they could go to the parade. And so the coaches' wives and the significants and the kids, if they were there, whatever, could go see the parade and they could go do a lot of other activities. But regardless, that's a long time.
Now, when did Did the Cornhuskers ever play in the Rose Bowl? Do you remember?
Oh, by the way, officially they are the Huskers.
Oh, excuse me. They're not the Cornhuskers anymore. Wow, you learn something new every day.
Way back when Bill Byrne was the athletic director, for some reason, that was a change he made. I think he thought from what I remember, he thought Cornhuskers sounded a little hicky or something along those lines. So, yeah.
But Huskers sounds so continental, doesn't it? So urban.
It does.
Wow.
Exactly.
What else does one husk except corn?
Hmm.
Or do I want to know?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that opens it up to Huskers of all stripes, but
do you
I still
husk
can't.
A coconut of sorts?
I don't, but maybe someone does.
Well, what would you call it when you pick, or do you bother yanking all the brown fuzzy hairs? Well, when you use it to make rope and such.
Well, I guess wouldn't it really hinge on what foods have an outer covering that's called a husk? Do you call that a husk on a coconut? Is it a coconut husk or is it a shell?
We don't grow them. Well, it has a shell.
It does have a shell. Maybe it's a turtle then.
No.
How do we know?
Okay, so what is your favorite Christmas song?
Christmas songs. When you get
well, my family and I celebrate Christmas. And so I'm much more familiar with Christmas songs than I am any other faith.
See, now my parents were not religious. They were not atheists. They were not. My mother had been a Catholic, and she was, I guess, excommunicated because she got a divorce.
Well, they don't. Well, maybe.
This was probably in the late 50s, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, late 50s. So I think when I say excommunicate, I don't know if it was an official thing, but she was no longer a part of that church. However, being from a large family of Catholics, I went to lots of Catholic weddings, Catholic funerals, etc. So I grew up around Catholicism. So I was a stranger to it, but I was never pressured into anything. So my only point is that through all of that,
could you say they were spiritual but not religious, perhaps?
No. Well, my mother, if you were to ask my mother, they're both deceased now, but if you were to have asked her, do you believe in a God, she would have said yes. I know that. And my dad, he probably just would have brushed off the question. I don't think he ever really gave it any thought. I mean, it's so ingrained, especially at that time. It's really hard to not be. I mean, I don't think I met another atheist certainly until I moved out of Nebraska. Somebody that I knew was. But it wasn't that they were anti-religion or anything. It just was.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring this up is to make the point that Christmas has always been a very secular thing for me, just because that's how it's appealed to me. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Frosty the Snowman and Santa and all that stuff, candy canes, Christmas trees, all that stuff is what I love and remember from my childhood. So having said that, I have such a distaste for Christmas music overall because of what we're constantly subjected to this time of year. So I can't listen to most of the Christmas music that you hear.
Not even Mariah Carey?
Oh, especially Mariah. She's the exception that proves every rule. But I will say I have a real love for old Christmas music, especially kind that sounds like my childhood, which is like Muzak-y stuff, like the stuff that we might have heard in Woolworths, something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
I think I might have the song that'll bring you into today.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Are you ready? Perhaps you've heard it. By Ricky Martin.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yes! Hey, tell me. Darn it, normally I know it. Ay, 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 it's Christmas, and I don't know. Ay, 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 it's Christmas, and I don't have a gift for you. But I can give you ay, ay, ay. Ay, un poquito, ay, ay, ay.
Is it a bilingual song? Does he do like the Spanish part?
Sí.
Bueno. No, the stuff that I like is more like Muzak. Kids today don't even know what Muzak is. It was a very specific type of music it's actually called Muzak because of the company that created it. And it was the stuff you'd hear in elevators or in department stores, usually instrumental. Usually you kind of didn't really hear it, but it just was there. That was kind of the idea, that it soothed you. And usually they were instrumental covers of popular songs so that you'd kind of hear it and kind of not hear it. That's the kind of stuff I love. I cannot get enough of that stuff.
You can have most of my portion.
Okay, fair enough. But I cannot listen to Jose Feliciano, Feliz Navidad. I cannot listen to Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time. I can't even listen to So This Is Christmas. I can't even listen. It hurts to listen to that stuff.
You know the song Mary Did You Know?
No.
That is my favorite. It's beautiful.
Will you sing a little bit for us?
No.
Please.
It's your baby boy. Would someday. No, just pull one up, a version. God, there's so many.
Mary what? What's it called?
Mary Did You Know?
Mary Did You Know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is that your favorite song, or is that just a song?
That is it.
That is it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't think I even answered your question. I think if you're picking a song, it might be Sleigh Ride. Okay. My favorite Christmas song might be Sleigh Ride. I kind of like that one. It's happy. It's jolly. It's short. You get in, you get out. It's all good.
Did you find it? Did you find it? Did you find it?
I'm a little slow here. I need an assistant.
Who already
What's it called again? Mary what?
Mary, did you know?
Did you know?
I think that might be the full title.
See, the miracle of editing, I can cut all this nonsense out, and it'll sound like we're really professional.
Oh, indeed.
Oh, Pentatonics? Is that what you're talking about?
They do a version.
Mary, did you know that your baby boy would one day walk on water? Mary... Oh, this isn't about you. I thought this was about you. Okay.
Oh, no.
Now I get it.
But you have to play it. We'll play a little bit so you get the gist.
Of course, there's an ad first.
Well, indeed.
Okay. Oops, excuse me. Do you know that it's, no, we shouldn't be talking about this, but
then are you saying that you do or don't think Office Christmas Party is really a Christmas movie?
Oh, good question. I haven't actually seen it. Oh, here's the song, just so we don't get copyright strike.
'Tis true, 'tis true.
Is that Matt Damon?
No.
Looks like it. And Josh Groban? Oh, this is like a super group.
You've never heard of Pentatonics? A cappella group, just listen.
Why are they just standing there holding candles? Are they on their way somewhere, or are they?
What should they be doing?
I don't know. But
it's because this song is about the words and what it means, not having lions and tigers running across the road and jumping off buildings.
I just want to get to the part where they've got like hot wax all over their hands. Oh, they're in a cave.
Is this? Oh, I see. It's from a few years ago, from 2014. Yeah.
See, in some stories, everybody else says Jesus was born in a manger, and then some people will say that it was in a cave. We were sitting at church quite a few years ago on Christmas Day. It had been a wacky Christmas, and Kenny and I were at some church we'd never been to, and the priest starts talking about how Jesus was born in a cave. We looked at each other and thought, oh, well, what do you know? But no, I mean, the cave is for lovely effect, but it's a beautiful song. When you're not worried about why they're standing there with candles and can focus perhaps on the lyrics. And the melody is, again, there are so many versions. Should I tell you what I'm getting for Christmas?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Are you sure you want to know?
Heck yeah.
A brand new MacBook Pro Plus something or the other.
Sweet. Welcome to the Mac.
Pro.
Is this your first Mac?
No, I used to, when I did desktop publishing, layout, and design, I worked on a Mac.
Because once, you know what they say, once you go Mac.
You never go back.
That's what they say. And I never did. I cannot use a PC, I'm sorry, but... that's me. I'm particular. A little commercial for Apple there. Our new sponsor, Apple. Apple computer products. They make great computer products. How's that?
Yes.
A good little live read.
Wait, you should get like a paper sound like you're picking up your copy.
Oh, exactly, yes.
There we go.
Okay, so we didn't talk about Die Hard 2, though, did we? We started talking about Die Hard 2 is obviously a Christmas movie as well, because it takes place exactly 1 year later, which makes it a Christmas movie.
Oh.
Because that's part of the part.
So
of
are we going to just so that I can get my pillows prepared? Are we going to go through all of the Die Hard movies?
No, and you know why? Because after the first two, the rest of them don't take place at Christmas, so there's really no discussion.
Okay, so it's established 1 and 2 are Christmas movies.
That's what
Next.
Exactly. So anybody who has any questions, just refer to this.
So you think animated Grinch, the cartoon version, or the movie with Jim Carrey?
Oh, the movie with Jim Carrey's terrible. I'm afraid. Oh,
you have to say,
awful.
In my opinion, or in my view.
In my view, which is the correct view, the live-action Grinch is terrible. The original is one of the most perfect 27 minutes of television ever. I mean,
it is really cute.
I was a monster kid, okay? So I was like way into movie monsters. So just the fact that Boris Karloff was narrating it was enough for me. But it's also brilliant. It's just also a brilliant piece of work. Not to mention the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yes.
Right? Which is also a classic. And you know what gets me about that? It's probably true of the Grinch as well, but over the years, because they've been cramming so many more commercials into the space, they've been editing those versions. So what we're watching now is a good 5 minutes shorter than what people watched in the 60s. Yeah. So that
is wrong.
Me. It's wrong. It's wrong. Totally wrong.
I mean, feel free to cut certain scenes out of, say, Home Alone or Home Alone 2, whichever one it was. Every now and then, some scenes just need to be gone. If you're picking up what I'm laying down.
Like maybe celebrity cameos, something like that.
Well, it's a cameo.
You know, there's a, speaking of Home Alone, there's a, okay, in the genre of Christmas films, there's a subgenre which would be Christmas horror films. You knew I was going to get here eventually.
Krampus.
But then within
Krampus.
that, there's Krampus. Krampus is wonderful. In that subgenre, inside that subgenre is another smaller subgenre, which is Killer Santa movies. And there's one that's a French movie.
Why would you ever have Killer Santa?
Oh, it's you better watch out, right? I mean, it's perfect. There's a French movie from a few years ago that's basically get this, a French version, a French horror version of Home Alone with a killer Santa instead of two robbers. So there's a little kid who's there basically alone, and he's very inspired by Rambo.
I'm just not going to hop on this train with you.
You'll check it out. Check it out. You'll love it.
No, I will not.
It's no Christmas Evil. Christmas Evil is the Killer Santa movie.
Okay. Do you remember having to have a particular conversation with your children?
Which one was this?
About Santa. I bawled like a baby. And to me, he is real, just not in that physical sense, but the spirit of what he is and how people react and behave, that's very real. So, no, I had to have that conversation with my son, and then we had to talk about the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy and the whole, and I had to apologize for lying to him for all of those years.
When did you have the conversation? How old was he?
15, 16.
So
no, I don't know. It was many,
it's okay.
Many years.
He's a special kid, you know. Everybody's on their own path.
It was many, many years ago. And he ended up comforting me because I felt so terrible.
Do you think he knew and was playing along?
I think he was suspecting. He had one friend whose parents had told him way too young, and he had slipped and said something in a classroom one time, and all the other kids were just absolutely aghast. And they ran home, told their parents what a child in class had said, and so that had to be dealt with. All the parents, they kind of let us know so that we could figure out what to do.
I think it's hilarious that it's as big a deal as it is. Our approach, my kid's mother and myself agreed that it was very important to us to not lie to the kids. But we also did not want to be spoil sports. And as you said, it affects all the other kids too, so you can't go around saying, Santa's not real. So
the physical Santa, but the spirit of Santa is very real.
I can accept that.
Uh-huh.
Our approach was, we're going to play along with it. We said if he gets to a point and asks point blank, if he asks me point blank, Dad, is Santa a real guy? I'm not going to lie to him. I will say no, and we will have the discussion. It didn't ever really get to I think the first time he asked me, my response was, well, what do you think? And his response was, I think he's real. And I said, then that's all you need to know right there. That's not really a lie. I'm kind of playing along with it. But I really felt it was important that once it came out that he wouldn't think, oh my God, my parents are lying to me. And I don't know. I mean, maybe it isn't that big a deal, but that's just how we approached it. So, and there were never any hard feelings. There were never any tears.
So was there no tooth fairy in your house either?
Oh well, I actually have a tooth fairy story, which is heartwarming. Easter Bunny, no, we never did. No, I think we went on a couple of Easter egg hunts that were organized type of thing, but no. But the tooth fairy, here's the deal we did do the tooth fairy thing as far as putting the tooth under the pillow. Well, Jack, when he was, I don't know how old when do kids' teeth start falling out?
5-ish?
4, 5? Okay.
4.
So he's probably 4 or 5. And he was really concerned because we lost the tooth. And he was really concerned. So we suggested that he write a letter to the tooth fairy explaining the situation. Okay, he was very into it. He wrote a letter, hand-wrote a letter.
Makes sense.
And we walked to the post office, to our local post office in Brooklyn, and mailed it. And maybe a week later, Jack got in the mail a letter addressed to Jack Peterson, and return address was the Tooth Fairy.
Oh, cute.
Now, right, so naturally I was convinced that Mom did it, and she was convinced that I did it. Neither of us did it. So we open the letter, and he reads it, and it says, "Hey, Jack, so sorry I didn't get back to you sooner, but I was on vacation, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about losing the tooth. It happens all the time." And enclosed in the envelope was a $5 bill.
Wow.
We were completely gobsmacked by the whole thing, to use your word.
I know. I caught it.
So she was convinced I did it. I was convinced she did it. And we just sort of left it at that until we started discussing it, and then we were like, no, I didn't do it. Well, if you didn't do it and I didn't do it, then who could have done this?
Just a quick aside, neither of you noticed that the penmanship didn't match either of yours?
Well, I don't think once we looked at it, we knew, but we assumed from the letter, we assumed one of us did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe a couple of weeks later, I happened to be in the post office mailing something, I guess, and one of the postal workers recognized me, and it turns out it was her who did it.
Oh.
She said, your son was so cute that when you came in with him and we saw this letter, me and all the other girls just got together and we said, we got to do this. So it really, really warmed my heart. And I think to this day, unless Jack is listening to this, which he might be, he doesn't know that happened. But it was just such a pure...
genuine kindness.
Kindness with no motive. I mean, they as far as they were concerned, I would never know that they did it. It was pure coincidence. So there are good people out there. That's my Merry Christmas. Well, it's my Tooth Fairy story, but it's applicable to Christmas or any holiday.
Yes, it is, because, see, that's the spirit of Santa.
It is.
Kindness and giving.
And we must keep that in our hearts all year round.
Yes.
Which reminds me, did you know that an albatross can sleep while it flies? Did you know that?
That's a natural segue. I can see perfectly how you got from one to the other. What?
That's the segue into my commercial for Snapple, our new sponsor. Made from the greatest things on earth.
Are you going to let them know that they are a sponsor, or do you think they'll contact you and say, hey, Lee?
Cease and desist is probably what they'll say. But that's close enough, if I get attention. Yeah. Okay, so we were talking about Christmas television shows. We mentioned Charlie Brown. What about the Star Wars holiday special? You ever see that? You want to talk the other end of the spectrum of like the worst things ever produced for television?
I can't say as I have. I can say that I won't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. Do you know what it was?
No.
Well, it was right after Star Wars came out when it was huge. It was the hugest thing ever. They decided to cash in, and they gave George Lucas like an hour of prime time to do whatever he wanted to. And so he made this incredibly chintzy, cheap cash-in that is ridiculous. Picture a 1970s era Donnie and Marie variety special.
I used to watch the Donnie and Marie show. So
I assume I'm.
You guys don't ask you me.
Sorry.
You've asked you me twice already.
I was hoping that you were a Donnie and Marie. Okay, so picture that with Star Wars. There's a wraparound story that is okay. The story, I guess, is that Chewbacca and Han are on the Millennium Falcon and they can't get back to Chewie's home planet in time for. It's not Christmas because they're Wookiees, so it's Earth Day, I think it's called. No, it's not Earth Day. It's Peace Day or something like that. So you've got a bunch of people in ridiculous-looking Wookiee costumes making Wookiee noises in place of lines of dialogue. And you see what else? We have B. Arthur as the bartender of the cantina.
Well, that had to throw a little something fun in.
Well, yeah. Is Art Carney?
Did it have subtitles?
No.
Do you
That's
know the
thing.
Wookiee speak?
And I think the first maybe 12 minutes is just the Wookiees.
That guttural kind of noise.
Waving their arms around wildly to get the point. You really do. George Lucas was so embarrassed by it that he actually tried to destroy it. And he did destroy it. He destroyed the original, the master copy, but somebody taped it off of television at the time. And so there is a copy.
It lives.
Yes, it lives.
Have you ever seen the show Supernatural?
Never. That just ended, didn't it?
I don't know
which. Come to its end?
I believe that it did. I would watch just episodes every now and then there were some times on whatever particular channel it was on where I would binge watch. But this last week, I watched the entirety of season 9, which I believe was 28 episodes.
Whoa.
I am in season 10. Or no, it was season 8 was 28 episodes. Season 9, I'm on episode 10 or 11. And I think that this might be the final season. It's fun. I'm going to have to go back to the beginning and start all over.
So wait, so you started in the middle of it, or you started towards the end? Or
I've watched some of it. Do I know how they got to the place they are? Completely no. But when I turned on Netflix, that's where it started on Netflix. So I said, okay, ding.
And it was easy to pick up in the middle?
Well, having watched quite a few episodes before, quite a few. I know I walked in knowing who the characters were, what they do, why they do it. So I had some history.
I had a similar thing with Breaking Bad, which is now my favorite show of all time. But at the time, I hadn't seen an episode until the very, very, very end, when the finale was about to premiere, and there was this relentless ad campaign, bus ads. I just saw it everywhere. It was like Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad. And finally I said, okay, you know what? Shut up. I'll watch it. So I watched the finale, not knowing anything about any of the characters, And I said, if I watch this and I understand it, I'll probably like the show. Loved it. I loved it. I immediately went back to the beginning and binged it. Best show ever.
Oh, how funny. Did you ever watch, have you watched Shameless?
I have not. My daughter was into that. It's William H. Macy.
Yes. And golly, now why can't I think of her name? I'll think of it.
What about
Singer?
Singer?
She's a singer, Broadway theater. Was in Les Mis.
Idina Menzel?
No, young. Emmy.
Lou Harris?
Is Emmy Lou Harris young and a Broadway actress?
She's forever young. No, but it was a name I knew.
Okay.
Emmy Possum?
Next.
Wouldn't it be funny if I came up with the right name?
It is like Rossum. Ross.
Is it?
Yeah.
Emmy Rossum? You know, one of my favorite...
Emmy from Breaking... See, now I did the one thing.
We didn't mention the Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special.
See, now I can't remember that song, the show. No.
From
Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Hiney Ho, we did not.
Oh my goodness. The Pee-wee's
Playhouse.
Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas show is the best. Probably one of my favorite. I shouldn't say probably. It is one of my favorite Christmas shows of all time. Me and the kids used to watch that over and over and over. And I will say this too. Not only is it one of the best Christmas shows, it's probably the gayest Christmas show you've ever seen. In that, I mean, let's face it, Pee-wee appeals to. Okay, the reason.
Do you need to be careful with that shovel?
Yeah, I got to be careful. Okay.
Yeah.
So the reason it's the gayest show of all time is the guest list. Okay, listen to this. You got Cher, you got Joan Rivers. Stop me when one of these isn't. Okay, you got Cher, you got Joan Rivers, you got Little Richard, you got Grace Jones. You've got Frankie and Annette. Do I need to keep going? I mean, it's. I mean,
it's. I can see how it.
Every gay icon is
where
in
they're
this
trying
show.
to appeal more to a particular demographic than the general population. But everybody deserves their show.
Well, the thing is, it's not openly. I mean, you kind of have to read into the subtext. Personally, I have always assumed that Paul Rubens was gay. I don't think that he's spoken out about it. Maybe he has, but I don't think he's necessarily out. But that's why the whole, when he got busted in the adult theater, seemed really ridiculous to me, because he was watching straight movies. It didn't seem like, it seemed a little fishy to me. And I've also heard from somebody else who lives in that particular town in Florida, wherever he was arrested, who said that the cops do that all the time. They just walk into the theater, because there's one theater, it's like a small, really, really red city town with one porno theater. So what do? Like every Monday, they walk in, the cops walk in, they turn on the lights, and they just give a ticket to everybody who's in the theater. Who's going to complain? Because these are guys who were maybe they're there on their lunch hour, not supposed to be there. Maybe their wife doesn't know that they're there. For whatever reason, they're not going to take this to court if it's a $60 ticket or whatever. So Paul, unfortunately, did the right thing and said, because do you remember seeing his mugshot? Because it doesn't even look like him. He had a little goatee. He had long hair.
Yes.
Doesn't even look like him. They didn't recognize him. So they gave him the ticket, and instead of just taking the ticket, which I'm sure every second he's been ruining this decision, but instead of just taking the ticket, he said, look, this is to the police. He said, look, this could be kind of embarrassing to me because I'm a bit of a celebrity. Is there any way I could do some sort of a community service, like maybe do a benefit or something to help your town out? Well, the cop goes home, tells his wife, hey, guess who I arrested today? Or guess who I gave a ticket to today? Her brother happens to be the stringer at the local newspaper. So the story broke because of that. Had he just paid the $60, we would never know that it happened. Yeah, it was a shame. And it really derailed his career, probably forever. Yeah.
And I mean, you could kind of look at it and go, well, that's gross, but he didn't hurt anyone.
Well, you could also say
his job was to entertain us, and he did that. He created this character, and while you knew that Pee Wee Herman was not someone real you were going to walk or pass walking down the street, the character was entertaining. We laughed. There are hours of laughter with my friends and me, and just, again, Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Hiney Ho, and doing the big shoe dance, because it came out. We watched it when we had our first apartment, and our neighbors would even come, and we would just laugh.
You could also say, if he did what he was accused of doing, let's say he did, where else would you do that? I mean, isn't that really the point?
Your home.
Now that's what's happened, but back when there were theaters, that wasn't an option. That's kind of what you do. I would imagine. I mean, it isn't like he was in a hospital doing it or a school. I mean, who in a porno theater would be offended by another person doing that? Well, I guess would be my question.
I've got to be honest. I've never visited a porno theater, so I got nothing.
Do you know? Again, Mary and I are both from the same town in Nebraska, and do you remember? There's a town called St. Paul, which is pretty close. Right? Very small town, really small, 100 people or something, right? There was a porno theater there, and I know this because this must have been like maybe the year after high school. A friend of mine was like, "Oh, we're gonna take it." So he went with it was him and his wife and me.
Oh,
Nothing odd going on there. It was 2 and it was 1. Okay, it wasn't 3. It was 2 and it was 1. Period. But it was really, really odd because it's a very makeshift kind of theater. From what I remember, with like maybe folding chairs you sat on. It was a very odd experience. You could hear the projector. You could hear the projector running right behind you, and very, very odd. I gotta say, if I had seen somebody doing that in that theater, I probably wouldn't have been offended.
It might have compelled me to kind of, stand up from my seat.
Get your check.
Really do you feel safe going in the restroom there to wash your hands? You've got to go home and wash your clothes. You're checking the floor. It's just an all-around bad.
No, I don't blame you.
I'm not
going. I don't blame you.
No.
I don't think that if I were a woman, I would have either. I can't imagine. Really, that's a thing of the past.
It just is my thing. I mean, other people may enjoy the heck out of it, and that's all. Just isn't my thing.
The theater aspect of it is completely gone. I mean,
you realize that we've gone from Christmas and Christmas movies and happy songs to crusty porn theaters.
Let me ask you this: what's your favorite Christmas porno?
I wouldn't have any idea, and we're not staying on this topic.
All right,
just nasty.
I'm sure there's probably some good titles out. That's all I'm going to say, because that's one thing about porn is that the titles. Whoever writes titles,
you would imagine that there might be. But you wouldn't have any personal knowledge of any of this.
I know nothing.
No.
I'm thinking Deck the Halls might be a good place to jump off.
Yeah.
Let's get back to other stuff. So what did we talk about? We talked about Killer Santas. We talked about Die Hard and Die Hard 2. Batman Returns, not a Christmas movie. I know this is a very controversial stance, but not a Christmas movie. There's a scene that takes place at Christmas.
Street Christmas movie.
Yes, because the plot revolves around Christmas. Couldn't really take place anywhere any other time. Gremlins? What about Gremlins?
It does take place the right time of year.
Mm-hmm. Is it?
And there is that one that wears the hat. Is there just one that wears the Santa hat?
Yeah, well, I think Gizmo wears it. Gizmo is a Christmas present to Billy, his father. But it could the plot would still be the same if it was a birthday present, would it not? There's nothing intrinsically Christmassy about it. Although it is one of my favorite Christmas movies, but now I'm kind of reevaluating whether it is, in fact, a Christmas film. But I did meet Polly Holliday. Remember Polly Holliday? Most people remember her from the Alice TV show, Flo, and her spin-off.
Yes.
Flo, of course. She was the Kiss My Grits.
Of course.
Sassy waitress. Well, she's
At
also...
the Yellow Rose. Wasn't the cafe the Yellow Rose?
I think you might be right. I think you might be... Well, it was Mel's Diner, was it?
Diner.
Mel's Diner was Happy Days. But Mel... I don't know.
There's Yellow Rose somewhere.
We'll figure it out, and it will be in the show notes. So Polly Holliday is in the, she's the wicked woman at the beginning who's the boss, Billy's boss, like the owner of the bank or whatever. No, she's a customer in the bank, and she's really awful. And she happened to come into the theater where I manage a few years back, and coincidentally, my kids were there downstairs doing their homework, and she walked in, and I started talking to her, and she was really, really sweet. And we had just watched Gremlins, I think the night before, a couple of nights before, so it was fresh in our minds, and I wanted to introduce her to my kids, so I did, and Casey was probably 7 or 8, I suppose, and she just walked right up to her and started asking her questions about Gremlins, and it was so cute, because it was like, oh my God, you're the woman from the movie. It was just like, Casey, there's somebody I'd like you to meet. This is Polly Holliday. She was, you remember, we watched Gremlins the other night, and she said, oh yeah, well, so when you walked in that scene, when you walked into the bank, were you holding a pumpkin? Was it a pumpkin that you were holding? And she said, no, I think it was a snowman's head. Oh, that's what it was, a snowman's. So I'm just standing there watching Flo and my 7-year-old daughter conversing about Gremlins. She was so sweet. I had nothing. Oh, she's one of the nicest people I've ever met.
You know who could have, I think, a really cute little Christmas show? Monsters, Inc.
Didn't they do one? Didn't they do like a little short?
Oh, they're within the last few years. Well, it was long enough ago that Kenny, we watched it with my son. Oh, darn it. What's it called? Blank and blank.
Shrek?
But it's these elves, and their job is to go, and they go beforehand, before Santa, and they scout out the houses. Prep and Landing.
Okay.
Super cute.
It's a Pixar too?
And I don't even like to say super.
Well, you did.
I know I did. Very cute. Really cute.
Extremely cute.
It really is. It is.
Well, I think there's a Shrek Christmas also.
Yes.
Probably Shrek everything. Oh, Nightmare Before Christmas. I totally forgot about this.
Oh,
speaking of great movies, yeah.
I've got a little Jack Skellington probably 7 feet away from me.
Sweet.
Yeah.
What's great about that is it's a Halloween movie and a Christmas movie, so you can watch it twice a year.
I felt bad for Jack, though. He meant so well. He just didn't. It just wasn't his thing. Wasn't his vibe. Well, because when my son was 3 or 4, and I can't remember if I'd mentioned this before, his favorite movie was Corpse Bride.
Oh, I love that movie.
And he would always ask to watch Corpse Ride.
Okay.
And why would you really think it was scary until somebody tells you it's scary? You figure you've got Halloween decorations around, all these, whatever, during these different times. And I remember someone telling me how terrible they thought that was, that I would let my son watch such a scary movie. But he's not afraid. And
I hope you've cut those people out of your life.
Absolutely. It just kind of seemed a natural progression anytime Tim Burton put anything out. You knew it was just going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Creatively bizarrely creative.
He's got such an amazing visual sense. With the exception of a few of his movies, I kind of think that maybe somebody else should be writing the movies. But he's got such an amazing visual. I love the visual style.
Yes. Of
Corpse Bride and Nightmare Before Christmas and Frankenweenie. Did you see Frankenweenie?
The dog? The Weenie Dog. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing. I just want to see part of that.
There's 2 of them. Originally, he made a short film. I believe when he was at Cal Arts, he made this for Disney, and it was a live-action, 30-minute thing. And then recently, or a few years ago, he remade it as a stop-motion animated feature with excellent 3D. That's probably the best 3D I've ever seen in a theater. Really top-notch.
Have you been out to see Christmas lights?
In fact, I just went into, New York is kind of well known for its Christmas spirit, I guess, with all the Macy's and Bloomingdale's and whatnot. So, yes, I was there yesterday, and I got to say, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic and everybody's got other things on their minds, it still looks like Christmas here. It's amazing. It snowed last week. There's still snow on the ground. And I was there right when the sun was going down, so the lights were all up and everything's Christmassy. And it's really, really beautiful. I mean, if you're into that stuff, New York is the place to be for that. Radio City, everything's decorated. It's all gorgeous. Yeah. How about you?
Yes. There are all kinds of lights and beautiful decorations all over town and displays. And the other night... my son came over to the house where I was for a while, and we decided to go get smoothies. And so we loaded the dogs up, went and got smoothies, and drove around and looked at Christmas lights.
Nice.
We were sure that the puppies enjoyed them. Now tell me this. Have you ever heard, read, or otherwise that dogs are colorblind? Is this true?
That is true. It is true. But, there's different types of colorblindness. And I forget what they're called, but it's sort of a spectrum, I guess. People who don't see one particular color, and then there's people who don't see a different particular color, and then there's people who don't see any colors. And I believe that's what it is with dogs. There's no color whatsoever.
Oh, I don't like that. That makes me sad.
Well, just watch more black and white movies,
That's your answer.
It's an answer. I mean, have you tried it?
I will have to talk to Boo, see what he thinks. Boo doesn't really care. He's, he has... I don't know what he has. He'll tell me later. He's very tired.
I can't verify that fact because I have not read it on a Snapple bottle cap yet.
Oh.
But I expect...
Did you read it on the internet?
I don't trust the internet. I only trust Snapple bottle caps.
Okay.
That's where you really get the real hardcore information.
We are truly digressing.
That's all right. It's Christmas.
It's a Christmas show. Everyone is going to be wonderful. What are they talking about?
Well, I'm telling you, what I'm going to watch tonight? My Christmas movie?
What?
You're never going to guess. You would never get. In a million...
I probably would not.
Well, if in a million years you would, because you'd probably be able to say the name of every single movie in that period.
That's true. That's true.
I'm going to watch Invasion USA, which is a Christmas movie. Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. That was excitement, right? That was stunned excitement.
I have nothing against Mr. Norris by any means, but I've not heard of this particular.
Yeah, it's I want to say like 1985, and it takes place at Christmas time, and
which
Chuck
is helpful
Norris.
for a Christmas movie.
It is very helpful.
I think there's
some terrorists, and only one man can stop them, and it's Chuck Norris. I have many problems with Chuck Norris, but I am able to separate the art from the artist. Not to accuse Chuck Norris of being an artist. So what are you gonna watch? What's your Christmas movie tonight? You gonna watch anything?
I don't know.
What haven't you watched yet this season?
I honestly don't know if I've watched a single Christmas anything. I don't even think I've watched a Christmas special, which is...
Do you not get the
Here's what
Hallmark Channel?
I was just about to say. I will turn on the Hallmark Channel for 3-4 hours this weekend, jump right in.
Now, my question is, the Hallmark Christmas movies, how do you know when one ends and the next begins? Do they tell you?
The happily ever after scene.
Oh, okay.
As seen as, I mean, it is basically the same formula, but then at the end, when the one decides to stay in the town and do whatever, blah, 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 and they're standing there together or they're kissing under the snowfall in the, whatever it is, that quintessential sweet scene. Well, and then they run the credits, which is always helpful.
Mm. And then it goes directly into the next one, right?
I haven't watched Hallmark for a while, so I'm going to have to. There is one, Lisa Whelchel.
Oh, yeah, okay. Now we're talking.
And then, oh, God. She's the principal of whatever school, and this young couple comes in, and the gal's a teacher, and the husband they bought some land farming. Well, it's an interracial couple.
Mm.
And his parents don't know they got married, and hers, and this whole thing, and the families come together at the farm, and the gal's mom cuts down this tree that had a ribbon around it. Then it was a very special tree that the young man's grandfather had planted, and the town doesn't have enough money for the Christmas pageant whole thing that's such a big to-do in this town. So this gal knows a guy, because she's a city gal, who represents this company, and they come in and say they'll give the $10,000. Oh, but there's a caveat. Of course there is. They can't call it holiday. They can't call it Christmas. And they signed the agreement before anybody read that because it was in the fine print. And so there's the whole family relationship of the parents finding out that this young couple is married. And then there's the whole thing with the town. And then there's a young boy who's the father was on one of those 90s shows. I don't know. He was one of those, an actor that you would know from one of those shows, I want to say. And
like Michael Gross or someone like that?
No, he didn't play a father then. He played one of the teenage kids. One Tree Hill, 3 names. Chad Murray, Mary Sophia Bush. They were on the show together. That didn't last very long.
Okay.
Anyway, but he's kind of a rougher, gruffer father, and the son wants to be in the Christmas thing and something else, and it turns out he's a very good singer, but the dad's against this whole thing, and then they end up bucking that guy off, calling it Christmas, and then that young kid sings a solo, and his voice is beautiful, and the father's like, you know how the formula.
Now I don't even have to watch it. I feel like I've seen the whole thing.
I didn't talk about what they wore.
Thanks.
You get to figure that out for yourself. That's right.
Maybe, if there's time after Invasion USA, I'll probably pop that on.
So if you think about it, that one actually had more storylines going than most do.
Well, just the interracial aspect of it is what threw me for a loop. I mean, on Hallmark, really? Now, when you say interracial, do you mean like white and Italian?
No, he was white, she's black.
Okay.
Or is a person of color.
Yeah, that strikes me as interesting for Hallmark.
Jan
Michael Vincent?
No, you're going old, people. Go young. Do you remember One Tree Hill? No, you don't, because it's from the 90s. Y'all didn't watch it. Exactly. See, you're trying to put it into something of our era. It can't be done.
Well, that's all I know. All I have is the voices in my head.
And it's too young for us, too old for your kids. It lived in the void.
You know what I was reading today is that you probably know this, but if you use Alexa or Siri or whatever, the first time you do that, the phone stays open and records everything after that point because it's waiting for you to say Siri again. So it has to be on guard. Yeah. So everything you say, all the noises that go on around you is being recorded. Merry Christmas.
Well, seeing as she and I aren't connected, I'm okay. If I can access everything my son has said, that could be interesting.
Make sure you don't say anything that you wouldn't say in front of Siri.
That's true. Seriously. Well, I would like to wish everyone Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope they enjoy. I know we don't get to be together with families and such as we normally would, but stay strong, people.
That's right.
Find some joy.
Well, yeah, there's joy everywhere, right? I mean,
you might have to look outside your own situation. Appreciate someone else's. I did just get a letter from Costco.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Read it. Read it on the air.
No,
what's it say?
I'm not going to, but I always forget that they have with the whatever the membership I have. I have the gold membership, the upper crusty membership. Executive. I have an executive membership.
Like the
I have a gold
Costco
membership
black card.
at the gym.
There you go.
Yes. I always forget to check with Costco to switch for our auto insurance. I'm going to have to look into that. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that sounds like a good project for the day.
Yeah, sounds like a ton of fun.
Happy holiday, happy holiday.
On behalf of Gary, Ronnie, Scotty, Chris, and Anthony, and my lovely wife, Patty, Merry Christmas to all of our listeners at this spot on the dial. Who's me? I'm Jerry. Jerry Lewis, that is. And they like me, my family. They like it.
Happy holiday to you.
No modern war has ever been fought on American soil. No enemy has ever dared.
I want to know what's coming down next.
Until an army of international terrorists invaded. They thought no one could stop them. They were wrong.
Didn't work, huh? Now it will.
Chuck Norris, Invasion USA.
Now playing. Consult your local listings.
Now please, listen very carefully. Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. It's a goddamn Bruce Willis movie. So a yippee-ki-yay to all of you motherfuckers. Good night!